AnimeFest 2023!
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us in this panel. This will be Melissa's Q&A. Go ahead and just open it straight up. If you have a question, please come up to the mic and ask your question. Feel free to take photos. Be respectful, please, and let's get started. I'm actually going to be super, I'll take the initiative. I want to ask the first question. Sorry, I'm a little selfish.
I want to say hi to you guys too and just say welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. And when you come up to the microphone, I love doing this. I love when people come up and say, hi, my name is Melissa and I'm from Los Angeles. So, hi, my name is Melissa and I'm from Los Angeles. When you guys come up, tell me your name and where you're from.
Yeah? Who's going to be first?
Seth, you're going first. Seth,
oh, right.
where are you from?
Hi, I'm Seth. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah, love AnimeFest. Been going since 2008, actually.
Oh my god, that's a long time.
It's been a long time. But this is about you, Melissa.
Okay.
So, because the whole convention scene has been just such a wild ride, when you first started going to conventions, what was that experience like compared to nowadays and what those are like?
You know, I have to say, it's a lot different. It's a lot more organized now, especially the big cons. I think, gosh, when I first started going to cons, I think my first one was Anime Boston in 2005. I think that's what it was. And this was my first experience, I kid you not. I remember, I don't remember the hotel, but I remember it was very, very nice. But I was going down an escalator, like I got to the bottom and I saw like someone dressed as Bloaty's Pizza Hut from Invader Zim, and I was like, oh my god, people are really dressed up. Like I had not been to a con before, so I didn't see that people were cosplaying or dressing up. I didn't even know how big cosplaying was.
You just never know because you assume, oh, it's just people going to show up. But
yeah, I had no idea what to expect. So then, okay, so 2005. So I see like Bloaty's Pizza Hut, and then I see coming down the escalator is like Teddy Kennedy, like one of the Kennedys. He was still alive then. He was a senator, and I was like, okay. Something is not right here. I'm seeing Bloaty's Pizza Hut and Teddy Kennedy in the same minute. But no, I mean, I feel like me personally as an actor, I didn't quite know what to do and what to expect at cons. And now I think I've grown up with cons, and everyone who goes to the cons has grown up, and you know, I'm sure things have changed a lot, just the organization of it, and I think the, you know, the respect for the people who are coming to the cons. They've really put an emphasis on protecting the people who attend, you guys who are here attending, and for myself as an actor too. But it's definitely become like more and more and more of a family when each time I go to one. I feel like attendees and guests and everyone, the staff and everyone working, I feel like it's really become like an organic thing where people are really working together. We're all here working together and getting to know each other, and I think it's only been a positive growth in how it's changed. Definitely.
So thank you for that.
Do you guys have any questions? You want to start? It's just us chickens here, so.
No fear.
Yeah, no fear, please. We're all here together, right? Oh my god, start with
We'll work through it.
Start with you.
My name is Jacob and I live in Dallas.
Hi Jacob again. I got to meet you earlier. You look so cool.
My question is, did you always want to be a voice actor or did you pursue something else?
That's such a great question. Well, I started out, when I was a kid, I started out as a dancer, and I danced my entire life, and that was my career. I went to college as a dance major, and then I ended up dropping out of college because I started doing more and more theater. And I was doing theater as a teenager as well, but for some reason I thought, well, I want to be a dance major, when I should have gotten a theater major, or a musical theater major, because that's what I ended up doing professionally and throughout my career, and I still do. I started out acting, and even though I dropped out of college as a dance major, that's when I started working privately with acting coaches and taking all kinds of acting classes and improv classes and worked with private singing coaches, and that's how I got my schooling. That was kind of the agreement that I made with my parents. They said, well, if you're not going to go back to college, because I was working so much as either a professional dancer in theater or commercials, getting acting jobs and doing commercials, music videos, things like that. They said, just as long as you keep studying, just keep studying, and that was like the mantra that I lived by. Just keep studying, and now I tell that to people, like, as long as you keep studying, you just keep being that artist, that you're not ever going to be too old to learn and to keep perfecting your craft. There's always new things to enhance what you do. So I started out as a dancer and musical theater performer, and then did more and more and more acting, and then voiceover kind of fell into my lap, to tell you honestly. And I remember when I went on a commercial, I went on an audition, and my agent sent me out on an audition. I was young, like in my late teens, and my agent said, well, you went on this audition and they said you did great, but they can't get past your voice. They didn't believe you. They didn't believe your voice. And I said, well, okay, well, that's who I am. That's my voice. So I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to work with this woman. Her name was Dr. Lillian Glass. Dr. Lillian Glass was a famous speech therapist who worked with Marlene Matlin, the deaf actress, to teach her how to speak. So that's who I was told to go to like work on developing my voice. So a couple of years went by, and I moved out of the house, of my parents' house, and I was living up in LA and Hollywood, and I took a day job as a receptionist for a post-production house, which is a commercial editing house. And a casting director came in. I was the receptionist, so a casting director came in, who was a very big voiceover casting director. Her name was Elaine Craig. And Elaine brought in demos of voices to bring to my bosses who were editing a commercial spot. And she said, oh, are you an actress? And I said, yes, I am. And she said, do you do voiceover? And I said, no, I had one audition once, which happened to be for The Little Mermaid, like years before. It was unbelievable, and of course I didn't get it, but I had all these callbacks, and Bo Billingsley said he had callbacks for Little Mermaid for Sebastian, and I had been called in for Ariel, and had several callbacks for it, and I really loved the whole process. I thought, wow, voiceover. So jump to Elaine Craig a few years later. She said, you know what, I want you to make a demo for me. Would you make a demo, like, read magazine articles, like copy what you heard in a commercial, it doesn't matter, put together a little demo for me. And I said, okay. And so a few days later, she called, and she worked in the next building, and she called and said, hey, did you make that demo? And I said, no, I didn't. She said, that's okay, I have an audition for you. Can you come over on your lunch break? And I said, yeah, sure. And it was for the voice of Betty Boop. And I booked it. And that changed my life completely. I had a callback. I met Richard Fleischer, who was the famous Max Fleischer, who created Betty Boop way back when, before even our parents were born. And he created Popeye and Bailey and all these. I mean, it was kind of incredible that this happened to me. So I met him, and I sang for him, I read for him, and then she called a few hours later and I booked it. And it was kind of an incredible time in my life. And just moved out of my parents' house. I was working as a dancer and actor, singer, whatever, and now voiceover, and it just catapulted me. I was very, very, very lucky. Right place, right time. and it all worked out. So that's how I got into voiceover. But I still do all my other acting as well, and it's all one big pot that I stir. I hope that answers your question, Jacob. Yeah, you're welcome. Come on up. Oh, you'll be next. You'll be next. Hi.
Joseph from Tiffany.
Hi, Joseph.
My question was, what was the inspiration for Gans?
Oh, this is a great question. Great question for Gaz. Okay, so I had the audition for Gaz, and my agent called and said, you know, there's this new series you're going to go in for. It's called Invader Zim, and I was like, oh, okay. And the only thing I saw, so I go to the audition, and a lot of times, and this was like back when we weren't doing our auditions at home. Like now, since the pandemic, I do all of my auditions from home because we all created our home studios, and that's what we do. And I was even doing auditions before that from home, but I always liked to go into my agent's office. So, okay. So we go to the casting office, and I saw the image of Gats. And I thought, oh, she's got kind of slanty eyes. She, you know, and I read the dialogue, you know, and I was thinking about it, and she kind of developed into like this little girl, Jack Nicholson. And that's what she became for me. Really methodical, and really like just pointed and direct and don't mess with me. And that's how she kind of evolved. To, you know, by looking at her and just somehow that just kind of like came to be. And then when I had a call back, I think it was a few days later, and I walked in and I see this guy sitting on the ground in front of the microphone. Okay, and it was Jonan Vasquez, the creator. And he was wearing like these huge, like Hot Topic boots and like stripy socks and like totally black, you know, cloth, and he was like white as a ghost, and he just like sitting there, and like the casting director was like, "This is the creator," and it was like, "What? Okay, this is the creator." So again, I got into like the Jack, you know, the Jack Nicholson thing, and like, and he was like, yeah, go even darker, go deeper with that, and that's how it just kind of happened, and that was my inspiration. And also, I have 3 older brothers who always tormented me, so it was perfect for Gaz, who just like had enough. And I think Gaz got to say everything that I would have liked to have said to my brothers, but I was too much of a good girl. So. Yeah.
Is there any word on a potential follow-up change in the Forbes?
Oh, wow. No, I mean, no word that I've heard, but I like to put that out in the universe. So if that ever happens, the fans will, I'm sure, be the first to know. But that would be great. We would all love it. Whether it's a, you know, second, you know, piece to Florpus, or whether it's just something new in the Invaders family. Wait, are you writing this down, Mina, to Tom?
Yes. And I'm going to email Richard, and I'm going to email Tom saying, you need to do Invader Con 4.
Yeah, years ago. Did you hear about the Invader cons that we did? It was like 2011, 2013, 2014, like we did 3 of them. And they were amazing.
Just pure Invader Zim, right?
Yeah, a complete con of just Invader Zim. We like took over hotels, and Tom Crew, who Mina works for, who's now the agency that represents me for cons, Tom had the genius of developing that, and it was so well done. We wanted to do it again. You're welcome, Joseph. Nice to meet you. Come on up. Hi, Hi, Roger.
And my question is regarding the touch coma from Ghost of the Shell. At least some parts of the series, there's more than one. So I'm wondering
the Tachikoma years ago, there were a couple of girls, a couple of actresses who played the Tachikoma. Like, we would go in separately, we didn't work together, because in anime, you go in alone to the studio, you don't go in with multiple actors. So, and you have to, we would match whatever little Tachikoma. So I think I might have played a few, and then the other actors played a few, and then I think there might have been 3 or 4 of us. But on this last whole reboot of Ghost in the Shell, I played all the Tachikoma. So it was like Tachikoma A, and B, C, D, E, F, G, H, like we went through the alphabet. So I don't even know how my director would like kind of make a note of like, oh, Melissa, this is the really high one that you did, and this is the one that was kind of medium low, and this is the one that had a growl to her voice, and this is so thank God the director like kept a list of of where I was with each one, and we tried to differentiate. But yeah, but that was a blast doing all of them. I mean, it gave me a complete headache, but it was so much fun to be able to do them all. So yeah, it was so much fun. You're welcome, Roger.
That would be fascinating to have to basically go through your whole range in one session.
Totally. Like I had to do every conceivable cute, quirky, weird character.
Did you feel like you had to discover a new one?
Yeah. For sure. I had to put my voice in places that you didn't think else. Hi there. Hi. Wait, what's your first name again?
Roberto?
Oh, Roberto. Hi, Roberto. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
That's a question. How are you? I'm good.
No, I definitely been able to do like more research and use the definitely and stuff. I'm constantly trained musician, so I'm actually happy that I'm study Linda back in 2004.
Being an understudy, or just being a Broadway?
Sure, no.
Okay. Well, Wicked was a wonderful thing that came into my life. Really wonderful. And I remember it was in 2000, I want to say like the late summer of 2000 or summer of 2000. I did a workshop and a benefit performance of a Stephen Schwartz musical called Snapshots. And Snapshots was built on many of Stephen Schwartz's music from other musicals. There were no original songs in it. It was all music from other shows that he had written over the years. It was about a couple there were 2 actors playing them young, 2 actors playing them in their midlife, and 2 actors playing them older. So I was playing the young of the girl. And we were told that Stephen Schwartz was going to be at some of our rehearsals, and of course he would be at the big benefit performance. So we did it, and I got to meet him, and he was just so wonderful. And then about a week later, I got a phone call. It was on my answering machine, God bless. And it was, hi Melissa, this is Stephen Schwartz, and I have a new musical that I think you're really perfect for. And would you want to be involved in our first readings and workshops of it? And I think I listened to the message like over and over and over again. I was like, what? Okay. Yes. So I called him back. I said yes. So from like the fall of 2000 to when we opened on Broadway in October of 2003, we did more and more readings, more and more workshops, and I got to be in a musical from the ground floor up. And myself and only one other actor were the only 2 that had done all of the workshops and then got asked to do the Broadway production. It was really an unbelievable experience. It really was. And I mean, even Adina Menzel was not the first Elphaba. It was the wonderful, wonderful actress Stephanie Block, who was the original Elphaba. And Kristen was not the first Glinda that did the first reading. And then Kristen came in and did the rest of the readings, of of course, so the rest is history. Doing an original musical and then seeing how it grows and not knowing at all what audiences are going to say, and then hearing that we're blowing up and it's become something that's become so legendary in theater. And to have been such a girl power champion for young girls, right? I mean, it's like the gift that keeps on giving for each generation of young girls. But older people go see it, and it's the prequel to The Wizard of Oz, based on the book by Gregory Maguire, Wicked. It was really amazing. I learned so much, and completely humbling experience, and. It changed my life. It changed my life, and to perform on stage, and to then go on as Glinda, and to be able to, create my own Glinda and create my own character. That was really, it was wonderful. And then I got to do it again in Los Angeles at the Pantages Theater from 2007 to 2009, and that was wonderful because I got to do it home in Los Angeles, even though I'm a New Yorker. I was living in Los Angeles, so it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. Did I answer? Yeah, it was really magical, and I'll never, ever. I mean, I still dream at night that I'm backstage, like getting all my green on, and like I'm gonna make it, get the mic on, I'm gonna get out there. It's like I still have it's like that. The waiter's nightmare or the actor's nightmare, I guess.
Yes.
The waiter's nightmare if you have to wait at tables, like you can't get to all the tables. I used to be so nervous waiting tables years ago. No, this is the therapy right here.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you. What else, guys? Oh, come on up. You look so amazing.
Thank
Your
you.
makeup is unbelievable. Yeah.
This is my second time doing makeup.
Whoa. What was the makeup before?
Well, it wasn't exactly this
Oh,
actually.
got
This
it.
last year. Hello, I'm Christian. I'm from here.
Hi, Christian.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. My question was, what was the funniest line you remember doing for Neptune?
For Neptune, oh my God, there's a million of them. There really is. Let me think about this. Oh God, and it's been a while since I recorded the last.
Because you have to record a whole bunch of them. They don't always use everything.
No, you record. I mean, let me tell you about, and Seth could talk about this too because he's an actor here in Dallas. But when you go and do a video game, recording session, doing a part like Neptune will take me like a week to get through all the lines. I mean, sometimes 2 weeks. Like, there were so many lines. And they're like, oh, you have 500 loops today, or whatever. And there were so many. I will say this, that with Neptune, they really, they were written so well, and just so funny. But they gave me a lot of freedom to really play with my delivery and maybe throw something in that was off the cuff. And I can't think of anything, but if you have a line that you'd like me to say, I'm happy to say it.
Yeah, because I think the one that comes to mind, that one that's also really popular is are you sure your name is Saturn? I think it's actually Satan.
Did I do something with the Satan? Did I, Are you sure your name is Saturn? I could have sworn it was Satan. Or, I probably did something funny with Satan.
Yeah, you stretched it out and just,
Yeah, there was something, I think that I remember that there was something that I did. And one line that I love is how she always, calls herself, her favorite protagonist. Aren't I your favorite protagonist? She's so sassy, and love playing her. So, free when I get to play her. I might be doing something again. There might be something coming up, so keep your ears.
so excited.
Yeah. Good question.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you, Kristen. You look awesome.
Thank you.
Who else? Anyone else want to come up?
Bonus if it's about invaders.
Don't be scared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come on up.
that's right.
Great. Keep it about
Hello
time.
again.
Hi again.
I'm from Garland.
Tomas, nice to meet you.
I have two questions. One for anime, one for games. The anime one is, you mentioned how you got into voice acting, but how did you get into specifically anime?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, you know, so I have been doing voiceover for a couple of years, and my brother Tommy, who also did, he's the voice of Agumon on Digimon, the original Digimon. So he had a day job of working also in post-production, and he met another guy who was working at the studio. I think he was working at Saban.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was working at Saban so many years ago. And he was working with this guy named Victor Garcia, who was also an actor. I think Victor was like in Stand By Me, he played Edward James Olmos' son. Remember that movie, Stand By Me?
Sounds correct.
Anyways, so Victor said, "Hey Tommy, you know, have you done voiceover?" And Tommy had not done voiceover, and he said, "Well, my sister does." And he said, "Oh, okay. Well, you know, I'm working with these producers. They're working on this genre. It's called anime." That's all I'm gonna go this way, right? It's bad, but it hadn't really come over, like as far as dubbing. They're putting, you know, they're trying to assemble a troupe of actors, like hopefully voiceover actors. And Tommy said, "Oh, my sister does voiceover." So we met, and the company was called AnimeFest. And yeah, I think it was. And so we were assembled and we did anime, but we did it like in the round. And they would come to each, and they would either have a couple mics and we'd step in. I mean, it was so, like, we did it at this studio, and Steve Bloom will tell the story too, because that's where I met Steve Bloom. Because Steve Bloom and my brother Tommy and his friend Victor, they were all working at Saban. Like, they were either like in post, my brother was in post, someone was in the mailroom, like they all knew each other. So that's where I met Steve Bloom, who was a musician. He had not done an ounce of acting or voiceover at all at that point. So we did these titles, Guyver and Orgus, like really old school anime titles. And that's how I got into anime. And it just kept growing and growing, and then like other producers started. You know, we were like the first actors in LA who were doing anime and learning how to dub. And they would literally, we wouldn't get beep, beep, beep. Like now we get beeps in our headphones, beep, 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 and then you start. It's matched up, the beeps are matching up the first flap. And it's a technical thing that you really have to learn, and you really have to really understand how it works. They didn't even have beeps. They would tap our shoulder. They didn't even give me 3 taps. They would just be like, oh my god, I have to say my line now. I got the tap. Oh my god.
It's so jarring.
I mean, seriously, it was so old school. It was unbelievable. And we were in this studio, it was called The Cave. And literally, it was like a sound studio, but it was built like off of like Laurel Canyon or something. It was like literally built off of like the side of like, and it was a cave, like studio. It was crazy. It was a music studio. But that's how I got into anime. It's crazy, yeah.
And the next one is for Neptunian.
Neptunian.
Yeah, and just want to know what's your experience with it. It's just so crazy. I don't know, it would be a very kind of a game of all the other game industries.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you have much freedom to ad-lib or do anything like that.
Yeah, like we were talking about for sure with Kristen, like I did have a lot of freedom. Like you have to honor your writers and your director, and you have to do what's written on the page, yes. But then maybe on the second take, you might see the words, but you might see them with a completely different sass or flair or whatever. So you might give it an A take and a B take, and then maybe you're like, oh, I might have a C take. Yeah, go for it, Melissa. And I'll give some crazy kooky thing and might add in a word or an ism or something like that I came up with because it's just funny in my head, and they indulged me. They indulged me to be able to play and do that, and we just, all of our sessions were just laughing and fun and just had a great time. Sometimes they'd use those kooky C takes, and sometimes they'd use just the straight ahead A take, you know, but I think as an actor, it makes me feel really good if I have some ideas and I have a director who's open to that. Why not? If they need to rein me in, they rein me in. But if not, it's better to give too much than to give too little. Better to give them more choices than boring choices. So that's what I've learned over the years. Definitely as an actor in any genre, be it on stage or on film or TV, commercials, or on the microphone, to be willing to put yourself out there. This is your moment. If you booked the job, and even if you haven't, if you're going in and you're auditioning, this is your moment. Okay, I have 5 minutes to play. Today my job is 5 minutes of playing, Neptunia, let's say. And okay, it doesn't matter whether I get the job or I don't get the job. I'm playing this part right now for 5 minutes. So this is my job. And so you have to just put yourself out there and trust yourself, and if they hate it, they hate it. Or if they, so be it. I had a good time. You're welcome. I don't mean to say that like sounding selfish as an actor, but I feel, and you're an actor, so do you feel like you put yourself out there enough, or do you feel guarded sometimes?
So I feel, you kind of touched on it a bit, and I feel like the best performances are obviously when you try to stay true to the source material, but what gives that character life is by you, the actor, adding a bit of your personality, a bit of you to that character to really elevate it.
That's exactly it. It's putting that little stamp on it that's yourself. Because you don't want to be like, every other high-pitched, voiceover actress who's gonna, I don't want to sound like that person, or that person. I just want to sound like this person and give it whatever flair or whatever thing that makes me individual. But not abuse it, but to just be yourself.
And that's what you can be. You can't be anyone else. Everyone else is already taken.
That's right. It took me a long time to really understand that.
I think that's what one of the struggles when you're first starting out is you want it to sound, in your mind, you want it to sound cool. Like, it should sound like this, right? But I really do believe between you, Steve Bloom, Bao, guys, when you just implement your inflections or the line would do, I think this is what I'm slowly learning, is like, say the line is like, you do this, but maybe you, Melissa, would say, y'all do this. That's right, so it's trying to make sure you understand those kind of things, and you switch it up, and that really makes it your own.
It really does. Those little nuances that make you individual is I think, what gets you the job or gets you the next job, and what people remember, right? Like, you remember Neptunia, you remember Edward, on Cowboy Bebop, you remember Gaz, and you remember all of the things that really, or whatever the favorite characters that you really love. Just because those actors really put their stamp on it. What else, guys? Anyone else have a question? Life through Sunday. Come back up, yeah. I'm here for you guys, so whatever we want to talk about.
Alright, so I guess Frank Sinatra, are you a fan of him? And if so, what are your top 3 favorite songs from him?
Oh my God, Frank Sinatra, of course. Oh my God. I love Fly Me to the Moon.
Yes, those lips.
I mean, oh my God, there's so many. I grew up listening, like my parents were, my dad was a jazz musician, and my oldest brother is a jazz musician. He's married to a jazz musician. My husband is a jazz musician, and a producer and a musician. I've listened to Frank Sinatra all my life. I listened to like Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, like everyone. And Tony Bennett just passed away in the last week. icons. I love Fly Me to the Moon, but that's just the first one that popped in my head. But there's, and like,
Yes.
My Way, New York, like all of them. I mean, you can go down the whole list of them. I mean, My Way is like synonymous with Frank Sinatra. You know, that was his thing. But New York, he gave that new life too, as well as Liza Minnelli. But he really, that became his thing. What are your favorite Frank Sinatras?
Man,
So many, right?
honestly, like, it just, like, yeah, those three, Fly Me to the Moon, My Way, like, holds a special place in my heart. It just reminds me that, like, you can only live life the way, like, you can, the best you can.
Oh, absolutely.
And then third one, of course, New York. That's just too much of a catch.
Oh my God, yeah, how could you not? How could you not? It's so true, I know. If you could just say Frank Sinatra and I'll listen to any of it, honestly. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you. I love talking about Frank Sinatra at an anime convention. That makes me so happy to tell my brother. My brother Tommy, speaking of, does an incredible impression of Frank Sinatra. He's really, really good. Yeah, really, really good. Come on up. Yeah, come back up. Hey, just again.
Is there any, like, what would you consider to be your favorite character to have voiced?
Oh boy.
Pick your favorite kid.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Picking your favorite kid. It's like, I don't know, Joseph. I can't. I mean, there are so many great qualities that, you know, like great times that I had that I associate, like doing Gaz with the guys, and, you know, with Richard and Ricky and Andy and Jonan, and the experience of it made it be one of my favorites. You know, with Edward, she's also one of my favorites because, I mean, I didn't get to work with them in the booth, right? As we were saying, like, in anime, we were not in the booth with the other actors. We maybe get to hear them in our headphones. But there was something so uniquely special about recording that show. And we talked about it a little last night at the panel with Bo. I don't know if you guys were here, but we talked about on Cowboy Bebop, we had the luxury of time. Usually, and what I mean by that is usually when you're going in to do an anime, you're really on the clock. How many loops can you do in an hour? You know, and the producers are like, you know, watching the clock. How quick is she? Is she quick at looping? Is she, you know? But on Cowboy Bebop, we were given carte blanche on time. No, I mean, we were treated like an original animation, and we played and explored. And our director, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, she is such a tremendous director, and she's an actress also, and just such an actress director also. And we just got into the character, and with Edward, we got to play. I got to really watch her little mannerisms, you know, spooky and all that stuff. And you know, but I really got to sing, and she would say, Melissa, what would happen if you sang this? Or again, like I would say, what if I did it like, woo, or whatever I would do as Edward. And so we had that luxury. We would just play and play until we were done with the episode, and then come back and do another one. And so that made that a gem in my life of doing anime, because I've never had that experience with any other anime. So those two really stand out to me.
And I guess the follow-up question is there any character that you would have liked to have voiced?
Oh, wow. Any character I would have liked to have voiced? Well, sure, I would have loved to have like been Lisa Simpson or something on The Simpsons, and Bob the Mansion, and you know, I mean, that show, oh my God, how many years has it been on? No, I mean, look, I think, I mean, there are so many great parts out there, and the actors that do them are doing them superbly. So I don't need to be envious or jealous or say, I wish I got that one, because I got the ones that I was supposed to get. and I got to put my mark on those. So I don't think there's any I wish I would have gotten. I really don't. I applaud everyone who's getting work and who's successful and doing their thing right. So, yeah, come on up. What's your name?
Hello, my name's Zach. I'm from Dallas.
Hi, Zach. Nice to meet you.
So flipping back to Edward, I was curious if you watched the Netflix live action and what were your thoughts on it?
Everyone likes to ask that.
Oh, really?
Zach, yes. Okay, so, I'll stand by this to say I did not watch it. I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't sit and watch the whole thing.
You only need to watch the last 5 minutes to see.
Okay, and then I watched the last 5 minutes of the season. And I was like, oh man, I wish they did that a little differently.
Okay.
I really did. I wish they directed her differently. I wish that they approached it differently. There was just something, I was hoping.
I was going to see you, but
Well, no, it wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't have been me. But as I was saying last night, wouldn't it have been cool if they did like a Roger Rabbit thing with Cowboy Bebop, the series, and then had Edge, the animated, and then it could have been my voice. That would have been cool. But no, yeah, and that was crazy about how that came together, and I was rooting for it, because what I said last night, I still feel is true. What would have been good for the live action would have always been good for us of the OG, I guess, because the more people who get hip to the live action of Cowboy Bebop, they might go, oh hey, that would have been cool, that's cool, that was a series, wait, let me check this out.
Right.
And then you get more people interested in both, and it just it becomes a family in its own. So we had to do some press for it, and we were like very, very, before it came out, before it aired, and we were very supportive and really, really wanting it to do well.
Did they ask you guys your thoughts, or anything at all, or no?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Before, how to guide the show at all?
no, I mean, they didn't ask us to be a part of it, and Bo had his own opinion about that last night. I don't know if you heard it, or did you hear that? Yeah, and they had kind of been saying like, oh, we need pictures of all you guys, and we want to like have them. We're gonna put it up somewhere, like a wanted sign or something like that. And it never happened. It happened on like a behind the scenes thing. And Bo said he saw him and Steve Bloom on something, but not myself and Wendy. But they didn't ask us, and we did that for free. And we thought it would have been cool. Like, what if we were like playing cards in the corner at the end of every episode, or at the end of an episode, or something cool, because the fans.
Just nice homage.
Yeah, nice homage, and the fans really spoke. You guys did. You really spoke your opinion about it, and they had to shut it down. I mean, they could not go forward. So, yeah, I think it was a missed opportunity.
I think everyone agrees.
Yeah. I mean, did you want to like it, or did you go in like, I'm not going to like this. I only want to stay true to this. Like, how did you feel
I'm
about
not sure I've
that?
ever seen a live action I've liked, so I went in with very, very limited.
Yeah, I hear you. It's hard. It's a hard one.
It's really hard because I mean, what works in anime, the big overreaction, the big emotes, that doesn't translate as well in live action.
It's actually wanted to so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Well, they tried. Great question. Great question. Anyone else? How are we? We just got 15 or
6 minutes
We
left.
have 6 minutes. We have time for one more.
You weren't able to. Hi, I'm Jacob from Dallas.
Jacob again from Dallas.
I appreciate you being consistent, Jacob.
You weren't able to pick a favorite character you played for. What was the most challenging?
Ooh, the most challenging. Okay. Let me think about this. Okay, so, sometimes we have to dig into our own emotions as an actor. I mean, yes, that's what we do. And there was a character, I'm trying to look at this two different ways. There was a character that I played, her name was Ray on Eureka 7. I don't know if any of you guys know that. Eureka 7, do you remember that? Okay. So, Ray was going through, like, not to get too personal, she was going through something very deep and very emotional in her life, and at the same time, I was going through something very hard and very deep and emotional in my life, and I really wasn't sure. I was, like, it was just so much going on in my life, and what I had to arrive at for her, and I had to just take a deep breath and say, all right, Melissa, use that. Use it right now and bring it right here into Ray. So there was some genuine, I mean, it's all genuine. We're actors and we really, like, we bring what we feel. But me personally, Melissa, I just felt like I was going to break down through the sessions, and I thought, no, you gotta hold this together. You gotta hold this together. So have you ever had that? Where you?
Yeah, it's you can't, because you don't want to, like, it's hard to explain, but, like, because if you just give too much, then you can kind of lose yourself in the role. And I think Heath Ledger is a good example of that. If you notice how he works in the past, sometimes these characters can just really affect you if you let you dig too deep. So you always have to kind of do your best to, once again, make it as believable as possible, but not let it just take control of you.
Exactly, yeah. You have to keep yourself in check. You really do. So I remember those sessions very well, just feeling like, oh, I just feel like I need to cry or do this, but I think I was able to handle it and get through it and just channel what I was going through. And then it ended up being a great thing. Like, it ended up feeling really good to be able to, like, say, all right, I made it through that session and I was able to bring some genuine emotion to it, and let's move on, That's a good question. That was probably the most difficult. Thanks again, Jacob. How are we doing? I think we made it.
3 minutes. That only took 2 minutes to answer?
3 minutes, yeah.
It's 3 minutes to answer. So, yeah. We have 3 minutes left.
We have 3 minutes. Anyone else?
Oh,
yay!
Yay, first timer! Way to finish it off.
Hello, hi, my name is Norman. I'm from Dallas.
Norman, yes. Hi, Norman.
Hello. First question, do you like karaoke?
You know what? I love karaoke. I haven't done it in a long, long time, but I do. I love it. Who doesn't love karaoke? Come on. Yes, do you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And the second question, what are your top 3 songs for karaoke?
Oh, I mean, it's been so many years. I don't know. I can't even think what my top 3. I mean, it's been a long. I can't even remember. I can't remember. I don't even know. What's yours? Like, what of late? What are you singing?
Well, actually, it's funny. We talked about, like, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
That's my number 1.
Ooh.
But I'll often go to karaoke, and if my friends don't queue up anything, I'll just open up the book and queue up every Beatles song. So
Every Beatles song. And that's what I would do too, because I love the Beatles. And my son's name is Jude, so there you go. I love the Beatles, but yeah. I would pull up all the Beatles songs. Bye guys. Take care. I would pull up Beatles too. I'm with you. You guys are great.
59.
59. You guys have been so wonderful and sweet and gracious and just so nice to get to know you. And these were great questions. I'm really glad we got to do this.
Thank you everyone so much for joining us this
Thank
day.
you guys. Give yourself a hand. You were awesome.
All right. You'll have a wonderful evening. Be safe. Have fun. See you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.
See ya.
Melissa will be available.